Good morning, guys. Tommy here. Today we're looking at our crypto market cycle charts. This tells us where we are at in the market cycle, which is one of the most important, if not the most important thing to pay attention to in crypto, as I've learned over the years. This is my fourth cycle, and I've learned that, the bull markets are awesome and the bear markets are very deep. So very important to pay attention to where you're at in the cycle. As always, not financial advice, do your own research. I've just found this to be very, very helpful for myself and of course sharing it with you guys here. So first thing, we have the total market cap, and something very interesting is going on here, guys. Check this out. So actually the crypto market as a whole is at around fair value right now. That's very interesting, but there's a big contributor to that, and there's assets that have not caught up to that. I'm going to show you guys that in just a second, but let's look at this here. The trend is currently at 2.4 trillion. With the market cap at 2.6 trillion. So again, just slightly past the fair value, growing at about 50% per year, right? And I'll go through these charts here. This is the time deviation chart. It's one of my favorites. I created this chart. This is how many months above or below value we are. We can see we are just a bit above fair value here as well. And now let's go on to altcoins. All right, so altcoins paint a different picture than the total, right? See that? Altcoins are not at their fair value yet. The trend for altcoins should be at 2.3 trillion, and the market cap is approximately 1.3. So pretty, quite still undervalued, growing at 76% per year. Now, by the way, just to recap here, the orange dotted line is where this logarithmic regression line was at that point in time. And we can see this is stabilizing over time. Thus, it's a decent predictor of where we're going. Again, not financial advice, but this is again very useful tools here. So just to show you the time deviation chart here, check this out, you guys. I was telling you guys back here late 2023 that we were very undervalued, and look at it. And when we're very undervalued like that, I was saying things can move rather quickly and move up rather sharply. We saw that in some of the past cycles here, and we're seeing something similar develop here. They've kind of taken off from being 26 months undervalued to about 10 months undervalued. Is a pretty significant move. So all in all, altcoins are quite undervalued right now. Let's also move on to Ethereum. Ethereum paints a similar picture to altcoins. Check this out. Price of 3,300 with a fair value of about 8,250, growing at 80% per year. So in other words, ETH is still extremely undervalued. And these are, by the way, the green lines are 90% confidence interval bands. And we can see ETH is right around the bottom of that. When they get to the top or near the top, it's when they're quite overvalued. And it doesn't always go all the way like that. We can see, in these past cycles, that 2017 bubble was nuts. The last cycle was a little bit underwhelming. This cycle, we don't know, right? Is it going to be overwhelming? Is it going to be underwhelming? We don't know. But you definitely want to pay attention to things when they get past that, the fair value point. So another thing I want to show you here is the time deviation. ETH was at historical undervaluations here, almost 30 months undervalued, end of 2023. And look at us now, we're currently around 20 months undervalued. So ETH, in other words, ETH is still very undervalued. Now, what's contributing to the crypto market as a whole being a bit over fair value is Bitcoin. And check this out, Bitcoin has passed its fair valuation. Fair values almost 50,000 with the current price 67,000. There was a dip that just happened since these charts were made. So Bitcoin's kind of bobbing, around 63,000 right now. It's a very volatile market currently, but still past the fair value mark. Note the growth rate, 39% per year. So it's not, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed that, Bitcoin is obviously not growing quite as fast as, say, Ethereum or altcoins. ETH is growing over double the rate of Bitcoin. And the orange line is stabilizing here, so it's becoming a pretty decent predictor of Bitcoin's price. Yeah, so all in all, what we're seeing here is Bitcoin's gone on a run, and I see people right now kind of looking at Bitcoin and jumping in, but I think personally that's the wrong move. I think the alpha right now is in ETH, is in altcoins. These are the ones that haven't got as much of a surge. And also historically, we typically see Bitcoin do well, and then that overflow into ETH and then overflow into altcoins. So that's setting up quite nicely, I think, again, My perspective is the alpha is going to be in ETH and altcoins going forward here in this cycle. But yeah, just looking at a little bit more of the Bitcoin charts here. Again, check this out. Bitcoin has passed that fair valuation mark, the zero mark here. So Bitcoin has had, and Bitcoin still has a lot of demand coming for it, right? But my expectation is that's going to be overflowing to ETH, especially with respect to the ETH ICO coming up. We don't know exactly when that will be, but presumably later this year, I would guess. And that could cause a lot of hype and excitement for ETH, and then of course overflowing into altcoins. So all in all, you guys, I will say we are, again, in aggregate past the fair value mark of this cycle, but again, that's really in large part due to Bitcoin, where once again, ETH and altcoins really haven't had that much of a rise. Check this out, by the way, how high, ETH could go. Again, the confidence interval isn't an exact expectation of how high it could go, but check this out, 90% confidence interval for ETH right now puts the high at 55,000, which is nuts. If it got up there, my personal target is more conservative target, 15 to 30K for ETH in this cycle. But if it is a super cycle, it could do something like that. So just keep that in mind. Of course, again, we don't know if the cycle is going to be underwhelming or overwhelming. We don't know that, but something to keep in mind. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to give a like if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys would like to see, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.